So if you watched Bob's video on Monday, or if you follow us on Twitter, you may have noticed that we are now officially a part of TGN. This is awesome. I am so excited, and thank you all so much for your love, support, and your viewership. We really appreciate it. So what does this mean for the Wolf Den? Well, in the end, not much. You just may see this hashtag show up every now and then, and more people can see our videos and notice my occasionally lazy editing, and sometimes hear my mom and grandma in the background. Now, TGN is very gamer focused, and I generally talk about comics on my Wednesday show. But I feel like there's a lot of overlap for things that gamers and comic fans can both relate to. Like, for example, today's topic. It's something I've been wanting to discuss for a while now, and since now we're part of TGN, I feel like it's best to just come forward and discuss something that I've been keeping sort of a secret for a long time. Here it goes. My name is Will Wolf, and I suffer from overcollecting. Overcollecting is, simply put, collecting more than you have the necessary room for. It can be in regards to anything. Comic books, a video game collection, statuettes, action figures, DVDs and Blu-rays, anything. This is not the same as hoarding. That is some serious shit, and if you or someone you know suffers from hoarding, get help immediately. I am not qualified to talk about that. I'm talking about when you buy a new game or comic or doodad or whatever, and you come home to realize you don't have the room for it. So you just pile it up in a corner and don't display it. Then you go out, get more for your collection, forgetting that you already have a stack of things that aren't displayed yet, bring it home and realize, oh, I still have to put those stuff out. So that goes in another pile, so forth and so on. For example, I have these action figures that I think are really cool and would like to display in my room somewhere. But I don't have the space for it right now. So they pretty much just sit on my ottoman, which I've cropped out of frame the last few episodes because it's gotten out of hand and unsightly. I either have to remove something that's currently on display right now, or I gotta put up a shelf somewhere on my wall, which I haven't had time to do. Overcollecting is very easy to get swept up in, especially for something like comics. It can be very easy to find yourself going through long boxes and collecting book after book after book, especially if there's a sale going on. Like in my situation, I own every issue of Detective Comics from 2009 through 2012. Why? That was the era of Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams' first Batwoman story, and it was also the era of Scott Snyder's Black Mirror. As great as those two stories were, it just doesn't seem worth collecting 3 years of Detective Comics when maybe 12 or so issues are really worth it. For a better example, I own Superman 700 through 714. That's the infamous Grounded story by J. Michael Straczynski and Chris Roberson after Straczynski left for reasons. The story started out okay, but then it just nosedived into a mess of misplaced idealism and just bad preaching. But I own all 15 issues. The only good one out of that whole bunch was a fill-in story about Krypto being upset that Superboy died. It had nothing to do with Grounded, and it was supposed to be released years before. What does that tell you? Maybe it's because I didn't want to give up a story right in the middle. Maybe some OCD part of my brain took over and just would freak out if I didn't have a complete set. The point is, now I have a 15-issue story that is not good at all, and it's just taking up space. I never revisit it. It's just every time I pass it by, I'm just like, yep, that happened. And I really want to get rid of it, to be honest. And I still live at home with my parents, so my collection is confined to my room. If my collection outgrows my room, I'm screwed. It's not a matter of I can't part with some of these things. I certainly can. I got no problem with that. The problem is, it's gotten to a point where the things I want to keep and display, I can't because there's just no space for it. So what's the solution? Well, if you collect media, like comics, games, movies, whatever, you can go digital. That frees up the clutter. Well, I should say it frees up the physical clutter. You can still create digital clutter. A whole collection of things that you never get to. You've probably heard of this before. Anytime there's a sale on Steam, people will buy a whole bunch of games and then just never play them. They just sit in the Steam library. Same thing happens with me every time there's a sale on Comixology. I have all these digital comics that I bought and just haven't gotten to yet because there aren't enough hours in the day. You tell me that I can get all of Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force for only $1 an issue, and all of a sudden I turn into this image of Fry. So what's the solution then? Well, unfortunately, it comes down to one of the hardest things to teach another human being, self-control. You have to find ways to limit yourself, set limits on your spending, and basically force you to not buy so much. I'll give you a pro tip. Every time I buy comics, I put money away. It empties my wallet a lot faster, and it prevents me from buying more, and it keeps my collection manageable. And then, at the end of the year, I take the money that I saved up from that, and I go buy my girlfriend something, because I'm a good guy like that. Also, only buy something if you're sure you're going to like the product. Don't buy just based on the franchise. That always leads to disaster. Don't go out and buy every Call of Duty because you liked Modern Warfare 1. And don't go buy comics based on the character that's in it. Try buying based on the creator that made the story. Most importantly, don't be afraid to get rid of things. Do it as often as possible so that this way it becomes a regular habit. You don't even have to throw things out or give things away. Put them in storage somewhere, like in the basement or the attic or a crawl space or something. Rotate them in and out with other things in your collection. Whatever you take away from this video, I hope is that you shouldn't be afraid to collect things. Just be mindful of the space that you have and the money that you have before you start jumping into collecting. There was this pretty good series on Sci-Fi Channel called Collection Intervention where they talked to people with insane collections and tried to help them pare it down to a much more manageable size. If you can find the clips of it on YouTube, I highly recommend it. It teaches some good lessons about collecting responsibly. What do you guys think? Do you or someone you know suffer from over-collecting? How do you deal with it? Do you want my issues of Superman Grounded? Let me know in the comments down below or on Facebook and Twitter. And as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with your friends. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, I'll see you next time. San Diego Comic-Con was last week, and I think out of all the announcements that were made at the event, the first image of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman probably had the largest reaction. Also, apparently the new Mad Max trailer was a big hit, but that's another topic.
Let's say you make an advertisement and Coca-Cola, or you take a photograph and Coca-Cola goes, I like that photograph, and they just take it and they put it in an advertisement. You go, hey, that's you owe me money for that. They're going to go, yeah, well, we have all these lawyers.